Okay, should be starting the stream here now. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is James PFP. Go by James, or also James or Jim. This is water. Oh, good water. Good water. I have to tell you a little bit of background information before we start. This is Fives Day today. Fives Day is the day of the week that I am guaranteed to be working. No matter what, that's my own personal rule of thumb. Must work on a Fives Day. Whatever work it happens to be. This is my hometown. I was talking about it earlier. Like the last couple streams I've been putting up this one picture. It's not the only picture I've got of my hometown though. Well. This is the same place, same hill, but from the ferry, because you got to use a boat to get there. And that's from this point of view, but looking instead of south to the east. Yeah, not a lot of land that way. Hey, not a lot to hold on to. Maybe a little bit over on the sides there. If you were really careful, you could stick to the green part in the middle, maybe. I don't know. This is the town I'm currently resident in. This is pretty much what it would look like on a hazy night. From a location called the Queen's Battery, this one. Thus the gun. Oop. Be careful not to screw this up too much. Plan for this evening is to continue working in Blender. But before I do, well, let's see what happens. It's possible we'll have some viewers here. It's possible we'll be joined. In which case, I will happily deal with it. And I don't need to stream to myself. Oops. The camera, she doesn't lie. That's where I live. It's really nice here. I don't have to wear anything on my ears for the time being, but if I want to use any kind of media, then I will probably want to probably use those headphones at that moment in time. So, grassy knoll processing. That's what we're calling it. If there are any viewers this evening, I've got bonus stuff. It's not only Blender tonight. I really want to wear something on my ears. Feels like I'm doing something like more real somehow when I'm wearing the headphones. Don't ask me why. What I'm in the process of doing is tracking this point for a very short... Well, I actually got it tracked all the way I wanted to. No, I do not. I don't want that one selected. I want that one. This one, I think, has got to be that track. It hasn't been named yet? Yeah, correct. And what we're doing here is we're tracking a section of video. If you went back over the stream from yesterday, you'd see exactly what it is I'm finishing up here. And I am very nearly done. This is frame 4749. I'm going up to what? Frame... it's only another couple hundred frames in short. Most of which I won't have to do any frame by framing, which is what I've been doing up to now. And I'm going to lock to that frame with the L key. Blender is all about keys, which keys do what, but when you learn what keys do what, for example, G grabs, but that grabs in every context. If I'm in the video editor, if I'm in 3D space, if I'm in the clip like this, if I'm in the node editor. And when I say nodes, yes, it does nodes-based compositing. So essentially, Blender can do the work of Adobe Premiere as well as Adobe After Effects in terms of the processing. It does both easily and well. I've used it for a number of years now. What I need to do is figure how long he's going to be off frame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, I'll be able to get it there. Maybe the thing to do would be to try to track to the road surface. In which case I'll go GG at this point and like pick that, scale it down. It's still matching the shadow pretty good. I don't know whether or not it's going to make the next frame that it actually pops in though. Oh, that's not bad. It's on the shoulder. That's not bad. It's a really good time to move it up here. Looks to me like we've got it back on track. GG to move the control point here. But what we've been doing, or what I've been doing, I say we, and it's not the royal we, it's the we of YouTube. The we tube. What we have been doing most of this evening is tracking various points of data along this video clip. Carefully trying to avoid having to do it more than once. Which also means I frequently use Control S to save. Make sure that the work that I've been added to it will persist. So that looked for a second like it was going well, but I'm changing my mind about it. I think the thing to do would be to think about adding the control point to somewhere like that, making it a little larger, rescaling this one down a bit, and then trying it once more. Much better. Still moving, but it should move back with the roll of the camera, I think. His arm going out is what kicked the track the last time. The pin looks really good for all of the jerking of the motion of the camera, but when his arm goes out, the pin moves. What I'm thinking is radical. This is how we do it. GG, I move this to the center point. M will turn this on and off, like the video display itself. Sometimes it is useful to see without the video. Strangely. It seems counterintuitive, and I assure you, it is. But for the sake of doing things visually quickly and with your own hands, yeah, it is kind of nice to be able to do that. We will we'll try for this point instead. I'll kick the rest of them, save. Like try for the pattern, I mean. Not tracking rotation at all, just basic location of frame. And we can see there is some distortion being introduced by the camera motion due to like the lens distortion. So that's this popping up and down frame to frame. A decently good track like this one should be holding better than that. He's got a high bit of contrast behind him, right? So what I'm thinking is I try to resize this first. I bring it back down. Once I get that one again, now I'm going to deselect this search area, scale this one up. That looks good. Oh wow, I got a Beatles Abbey Road thing going on behind him. Or I mean, oh shoot. I hit the wrong key there. That can have bad effects in Blender. So, things seem to be going well there. I'm going to rotate it a little bit. Also going to scale it up a little bit. If I remember right, we're going to get closer to him as this clip ends. It's pretty good. We got about 10-15 frames there before the solution got wonky. Favorite word, wonky. It wants me to change the rotation already. I also think I should do this, change the pattern a little bit. Changing the pattern won't cause the track to go out of track, but having the center point which it's pinned to move too much, that will. Good time to save, says he. Scale the X slightly bigger. Going pretty good. Going pretty good. Getting to within 100 frames. I should not say anything at all. I should just thank my lucky stars that everything seems to be going decently well. I'm watching the chat like a hawk. I will not go without chat. I can do without it. I do prefer to have someone to talk to. I mean, don't we all? I've said elsewhere too, and lately, isolation will break the best of us. More surely than almost anything else. Ooh, I was thinking here as this was rotating around, I should probably match the rotation before I even get close to this. Like there, maybe. And roll. I've got a link posted in the description for this video. It's a YouTube link to one of my own videos. But the topic of... Well, that's funny. The video that I've linked is the source for a topic I'd like to talk about. But it's no point for me to even bring it up unless there's someone to talk about it with. There's a curious thing. I wasn't expecting that. It seems to have locked onto the center of mass because of reflection of sun off a white t-shirt, which is entirely in my favor here. It's the best kind of thing I could expect from a moving target, because if he's moving and that's a reflection of the sun, the reflection will pretty much stay the same while he moves underneath it. So I'm tracking the reflection, not the thing which is reflected off of. Very cool. And works like a dream. Done it before. Depending on the situation, it can be really useful. I'll know later when I check the track too. It might have moved down when we got closer to him. Good god darn, we're within 20 frames. Let's scale that up again. Ah, it found its way to the road behind him. What? It seems to have. Wow. Made that entire turn. But at this point, it doesn't know what to make of it. Jeez, doesn't this... Never mind. Who does he look like? Maybe not a pertinent question to ask at this moment in time. Could try like tracking something else here. I could even go for his face at this moment. I think it's probably better that I don't. Scale it. The rotation looks great. And that's the end of the clip. I say we lock that one. Yes, sir. And this is Guy White T. Now, what we have here is a series of motion, how to call it? You could call it motion capture data, I guess, which comes from all of these tracks. And when it's all considered together, it looks like a proper mess. But I feel fairly confident in saying that between these tracks, yes, oh yes, that's Guy White T right here. Okay. 2D stabilization, add Guy White T. I could turn rotation on or off, but right now I'm going to go without it. Turn on stabilization. Don't need to see this one. Do need to see this one. But, of course, this is much better when it's blown up. Make sure we're at the first frame there, and we are. So this section, which we just passed, this one, will be black bar at the bottom. The way to fix that is to lower this Y number by the depth of the bar. So rotation is an issue here. And I have to be very careful about which ones to use as rotation marks. And the one that I was using for most of them was this one. This one does seem to work rather well. And you can see how much it is anti-rotating it. So at this point where it jumps, this track is being used. And then 2 other tracks pick up. Which is why I stopped using rotation. It kind of needs to happen and it kind of doesn't. I'm having an overview look at it there. Seeing whether or not there's anything here that I might want to... Wow, this is just... This seems excessive. One of these tracks doesn't want to work right, or... Yeah. I think I see the one that's doing it is this one. As you can see, even though we're looking at something fairly uninteresting, this isn't. So the bus is just passing? Yes. Wow, that was a big jump there. Okay, and I know why too. That was this one falling off. There. Friends, there it is. It's only updating once every 5 frames or something, but it is getting smaller as it goes away down the road. There. That's smaller again. And I swear it looks like it turns. There. Like an 8-bit computer game. There's a person walking in front of the road there too, which is not helping matters. I think it probably goes to the left. The car itself. I mean, I know the road does. Someone mentioned that today. I think it was Janet. Way early in the morning here, but I've got a few, got some midnight oil to burn. I went out between editing sessions, went out downtown. So since I know I want that pretty much on screen at all times, I can start thinking about how to do this. Latter part might want to be around what, 3.3? Yes. Answer is yes to that. I'm glad this isn't crashing and burning tonight like it was the last few nights. Got a different strategy on the go tonight for how to avoid crashes. Think it might work. Worked earlier today. 5 hours straight, no crashes. How about that? The rain just started outside. To see whether or not there's like reporting any views. Peak concurrent 1. Wonder, is that counting me here? Zero watching. Okay. No biggie. Won't cry. Won't lose any sleep. Doesn't matter. If I want to listen to music, I'm going to put on the headphones. That's what I'm thinking. And I am kind of in the mood to listen to a little music. There's the next problem. I'm going to listen to something that I can listen to without incurring a copyright strike before, during, or after. What to do? So this is the last thing to be done. Fix all of these jumpingness. And also try to establish, like, is there a height which is going to be uniform from start to finish. And I think this 320 will probably work. I could even put it down a little bit more. 2.9 strikes me as a good idea. I'll save it here. Here comes the next interesting thing about Blender. It has what's called a how do we say this? It has what's called a graph window. How do we say this? Graph. So there's a graph here, but it's a different kind of graph window. This is a timeline window at the bottom. I'm going to split this. Oops, sorry. Excuse me. It won't let me split the window? Well, isn't that weird? There's no N window down here either. That's truth. Here we go. I'll split it this way. And I'm going to turn this one in a graph. We'll move this up a bit. And for now, I'll move this one over so I can see a little bit more. As you can see, the marks which are on the timeline are also on the graph. But what I'm going to be doing here now is from the first frame of the animation to the last frame. So from this frame to this frame. I'm going to be laying down a series of marks or cues that are what's called keyframes. Specifically telling the image where to be and when. So the first frame, I'm going to keyframe to like here. I can also not auto scale this, but use scale influence here instead. Or expected scale is actually what's scale influence is scale which comes from a scaling control point. Location influence, let's turn that up for a minute. See how that works. Wow, that looks a lot stabler. but it's going to jump like a son of a gun when it hits that first drop of keyframe right there. So that's the reason why we have to do the keyframing, to make sure that any jump such as that one can be sorted out. Now I'm curious by nature. So if I turn the location influence to 50% and look at that again. So now the motion which is induced in the camera is coming from forward, because the motion tracking is not going to make up everything in the difference, even though it knows exactly how much it moves. And the jump there, is that worse or better? It's at 1. Or if it's at 50%. I'm darned if I can say there's much difference there. And of course, we're still working at the expected scale 2. Let's go 1.5. I can keyframe the scale to be a different sizes at different times as well. I can zoom it in or out. Doesn't much matter. Because I've changed that though, this now needs to go lower. I should probably go back to the beginning. Let's say there, yeah? Maybe increase the scale a little. It's so nice to hear the rain tonight. Now let's see, the jump that is there still ain't terrible. I can match the jump entirely. Like I can have it. I think I can. What I'm going to do is lay down, now that I'm at the first frame again, I'm going to lay down a keyframe right here by hitting I key. Did a man on the left lose a leg? Oh, hey Janet. Did a man on the left lose a leg in that jump? You might have. You might have. Truth. But I'm not entirely sure. If you did, we'll see. I was thinking about putting on some music or something, but if you're here, I don't have to. Keyframe, I hit I key while hovering over one of these buttons, and it'll keyframe them both by making them yellow. And we just saw that there was 3 keyframes added here. I've got an well, there's 3 sets of keyframes, but expected position for these are the ones that we're working with. Not entirely sure where they are yet, but if I hit the home key, it'll resize this window to reflect. So now what I'm going to do is start going through the footage 10 frames at a time to get closer to the area where the jump is going to occur, which is that frame specifically. I'm going to keyframe this again at that frame. And now after the jump, I have to estimate how much to move it back so that it's back in the position that it was. So if I put the mouse over the bus and take my hand off the mouse, go forward a frame, like I got to move it back at least to here in the image. And that was over the center of the bus. So that's going to be going back about that much maybe. And now I hit I and keyframe it. Now, if I go back a frame and forward a frame, I got a pretty good guess with the left and right, but not with the up and down. Up and down more than I expected. So now there's a keyframe in both of these locations. This one's fine. This one needs to move down. I'm taking guesses and keyframe it again with an eye. Not so bad. That one will now need to do the same thing. So eye on this frame, go forward a frame. I want the bus to jump back to here. Again, that must be another 50 or so back maybe. So I'm going to guess or guesstimate that this is negative 0.320. Not enough. Let's go there. Go back a frame, forward a frame. Back a frame, forward a frame. So it still needs to go back more. And it's probably going to need to go down one. And hit I again. So that's closer. And the second keyframe is the one that I need to change. 1, 2, and maybe 1, 2 there too. I again. Which is about as much as the last one was, right? It looks almost like regular motion. So that's just stitch those keyframes. If I hit home again, we now explicitly see these keyframes being laid out on the graph. And because I'm jumping between values one to the next to the next to the next, there's not much of a curve on this graph. But if I want to change these keyframes specifically, I can now select the points on the graph to move them. Which is why the graph window is nice. I don't always or often use it though, and frequently when I'm done with the graph window, then I'll right click on this, join area, and go back this way, and then the window turns back into a timeline window. So you can add as many sub windows as you like in Blender. That's why one of the reasons I like it. What are you doing tonight, Janet? You still there? Oh, you are. Fine Friday evening. I've been downtown and back, but I didn't do anything I shouldn't do. Wasn't doing anything I shouldn't do. Oh, vodka corrupts. But absolute vodka corrupts absolutely. Now, next issue. There's the keyframes I set. We see that the camera is going to move over off because of motion correction. And there's going to be quite a large bar area right here. So before, or as it gets to this area, I want it to be already moved that far or more than that far. In fact, that far or more than that far. So in the middle frame, I'm now going to move this back to keep the frame in frame. And this will look a bit like a camera move over the space of time, but it'll stop the image from leaving the screen. So it'll look like a forced camera move, like a pan scan thing. It'll be really quick too. Here's the other side of the problem, right? So I don't know where the last set of keyframes was. It won't let me skip to them easily. If I go back to the last keyframe again, there it was. There. If I go 10, 20, 30, yeah, it's going to want to go back again pretty quick. For 40 frames, it's going to be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pretty much centered, maybe. And higher. and I have to remember to keyframe it. So let's go back over that move here. The camera gets a little bit shaky for a second as it resets, but then after, it does seem like he still has both his legs. Oh, there's a jump. So same as last time. Keyframe on the frame before, and we're going to keyframe on the frame after, and we have to think that I want the second frame to be like the first frame, which means this guy has to be halfway on the screen. Something like that. Wow. And then by this frame, I'm going to want it also to like back over again. So, that was the wrong direction. 1, 2, 3. This is the right direction. Might as well cut to the chase of it. Faster to do it the other way. So there's a really quick camera move there. And I may well zoom back, or like during this camera move, because it's getting close to centered on screen. That's the right one. So expected scale right now is 1.8. Set a keyframe. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. That's 2 seconds. We'll zoom back. And then we'll also move this down. How'd that move look? This is going really quickly because I'm using nearest, and this is also going to make sure that I don't crash while I'm doing what I'm doing. Another jump there. Old frame, new frame, and the frame is starting to go off screen anyhow. So the one right before it moves, I'm going to want to actually change the framing anyhow. I want it to be centered more. And I'm going to move it up again. And I'm going to set another scaling keyframe here so that when we start the next zoom in, it will be from that point. So this is going to move over. That's the first frame, that's the second frame. I want the edge of the box to be back in the picture on the second frame. So the edge of the box, if it's available, is there. Do we back one? Because we're moving forward, so it actually flows with the video a little bit better. Up and down looks good. Oh, and here's another one. Okay. We're going to get another forced move here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and back. This is going to be a really quick move. So this one really does need to have this jump fixed. It looks like it's not a jump, but it is a jump, and I can tell because this one's picking up again. So I have to now get the quarter of the box back. Corner. And I think I have to bring it down somewhat. Now I have to set another keyframe. Insert. Goodness, this looks decent. Considering I put a couple of hours into it last night, today. This will be done shortly. I'll be able to render this son of a gun. There's the last keyframe. I am saving right now. So I'm going to start a zoom. A nice slow push, probably in all the way to 2.2. I need to see again how far, since the zoom keyframe was back here, wasn't it? There. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. There's probably where I want it done. Let's go to 1.9 here. Insert. So here's another one of these lovely jump places because I have a track coming on and off. Here's the tricky one. So the one before the corner of the bus, the one after the bus after, but the bus is moving forward towards us. So the one after the bus should be perhaps a little off frame or getting a little bit back off frame. So this wheel doesn't only have to go over, it has to go down. Oh, look how much that has to go down. Hit I again to make sure I get the right one. Still has to go down. Hit I again. goodness. Did I get that right the first, just guess? Did I guess that one right? It looks like I might have. That's the only place it drops off the screen. That's pretty good. This one, okay. I'm gonna set a keyframe there just to hold. It's holding position through all that length of time, but when this happens, we're going to move this back over. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't, because it is coming back right away. Let's just put up with the black bar for a second or two. Then if we look down the road here, huh. If I hit home in this one now, I start seeing more of these keyframes where I've been laying them down. I can zoom in by holding control and pulling in a direction. Expected scale, expected position. Let's have a look at all three of them. Scale is the yellow one. So the last keyframe position should be around here. I'm going to want to move it back this way. This is why I don't want to touch this here yet. I'm thinking about keyframing it now, though. And then when this goes forward to this far, now bringing it back. So I can see down the road a little farther for a longer period of time. It's going to jump in and out, though. Watch. I figured there must be data there that I don't want to lose or don't want to miss. For example, even though this is not necessarily a vehicle I'm interested in, I might be interested in seeing which way it moves when it gets to the end of the road. Because I'll see that better than I did the Challenger. Hey, way the heck down there, isn't it? Save it again. Scroll through from here. So from whatever the last period of keyframes was, that looks like about here. There it was. So I know I'm going to want to move it over by at least here, maybe. No, I don't. What am I saying? By there, I'm going to want to move it up. Well, maybe I won't. If I do, I'm going to want to zoom it back. But maybe I don't know if I even want to do that. I could put up with a zoomed image for all of that time. Totally could. Okay, keyframe here and a keyframe here. 1 second, 2, 3, 4 seconds, 5. And keyframe it. But now I'm going to fix this at the same moment in time to like here. Or something like this. So that the image is dead center inside of the frame itself, and now the motion is going to be to keep the frame, to keep anything in frame. And I have to remember to keyframe these, or it's going to be for nothing. That's a long camera move with a long zoom. But it'll stop the black bars from occurring so much. And this is where the other one picks up. Great. I think this does this for me. This part anyhow. Join area that way. If I save this, now I'll go back over here to video editing. And I'll set this back to start frame 1. But I need to start the most stab all right here. Still there, Janet, I wonder? Or am I alone again? I imagine I'm alone. Yeah, of course I am. Oh. So, this is where this motion stabilization begins. Shift A, clip. The long clip that I've been using is this one. Why doesn't it want to let me use this? Add. If the cross or replace would be good. Here's the next question I've got. Back to motion tracking. I got this frame offset put here for simplicity purposes. If I use 0 and go to the last marker here, jump to the last previous marker, open this and reload the clip. Video editing. So yeah, now the clip's showing, right? Replace, add, replace. Add lets me see something that's important there too. They're not in time with one another. Now the clips are synchronized. Replace. Stabilize. And we got the motion, we got the move. Yeah, I can dig that. Just gonna do this without crashing? I don't know. Oy, 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 I fooled that up. Boy, did I ever. Right here. I can also pull the clip editor, of course, into this window specifically. Like explicitly. So that I can verify like everything is working good. Of course, this is on another. Oh, no, it's not. It's on this clip. This clip should be loaded. That's correct. Oh, right. We're not even looking at the right bloody clip. What am I doing? Go to next frame, next marker. Reload the clip. Go to movie clip editor, no, video sequence editor. Did that again, same mistake. Probably a little too early in the morning for me to be doing this is why. Marker, next marker. I think I got a better idea. Motion tracking. We will create just FFL, a copy the settings. An FFL most tab here is in it. But now I'm going to rename this one. And it's going to be no offset on the frame, so this needs to be knee. And now I'm going to set this to the start frame. If I go back over here to video editing, I got to reload this clip, or I can exit off and add it again. It's just because it is, that must be, it's weird. Oh, I want movie clip editor here. Now that I'm in just forward FFL long most tab, I don't want it in this one. I think I might have just borked. Back to the borked. Just FFL is right. Brings you near this one. No, I need to go to there. Doing grease pencil. Turn this over the video sequence again. Oh. Movie clip editor. 90% sure this is the issue. It's under footage settings here. I was using a frame offset to get the footage to concur to a longer place. So now I gotta go to 0 because I only need to play the clip through. And it remembers everything else about it, or it's supposed to. Back to video sequence editor. Ooh, right here. Add for a second, then I'm going to go to the other one and back to replace. It shouldn't have stopped like that. It doesn't much look like it's tracking really good. Keep doing the same thing here. So yeah, that's the majority of it done, including how to put the clip in there. I do have one little thing to do, make sure that it works in my favor, which is I'm going to have to try to render this with the least amount of tomfoolery. Thinking aloud. I've been streaming anyway, just over an hour. Time for me to take a break, so I can reset. Turn the mic off. I'll be back in a very short period of time. It's early. I'm back off break. Ill wind blows minds, definitely. Or blows none. While we're waiting, since I'm here, I got this saved. I gotta double check that I've got it saved. Good. I'm gonna close the window for a second. Turn it off here first. Since I can load it again after. But I want to save some memory. Downloaded something earlier. Here it is. I said, Holy Mary, sweet mother of God. Hang on. So I posted a video about hate speech there a little while ago. I'm going to put on the headphones and I'm going to put up this. I'm going to stop the video, back it up, and now reposition it. And yeah, I recorded it for another location. I'm going to turn off my own camera for a second. Turn off my camera. It's up here. I might even mute my audio while I play this. I said, Holy Mary, sweet mother of God. Hang on. So I posted a video about hate speech there a little while ago. I'm going to put on the headphones and I'm going to put up this video. Now I've got this set up so that I can indicate with the mouse, with mouse over, and I can also stop and start the video. It's about 5 minutes long, and I do want to indicate certain things about the video as it goes on. So I'd also like to add at this point, this clip is coming from a link which is in the description already, and I did this long before I saw a Son of Nemo video. It's about 6 minutes of length, really, 5 or 6 minutes, and there's audio. So this is from last year.
Pauline over there. Pauline getting a sympathy clap.
Thank you for everybody.
First thing I'll draw your attention to here is that there's this person with this sign and another sign above it is protesting in the middle of a protest where there is fair bit of media attention. So we're going to see a number of people that are recording in one form or another. There's 2 other cameramen. There's this person who's got like an audio recorder. I think she's with VOCM, yeah. And there's myself. Okay.
Thank you for coming tonight. I know it's a pretty cold night out there, but thank you so much for braving the wind and coming out.
He's gone right on the person who's got this sign, the Dwight Ball poster. This Dwight Ball poster that this person has in her hands. This is a common Dwight Ball poster that everybody who is at the protest has this sign. I actually wasn't carrying one because I had a camera in my hands. But everybody else pretty much had one of these in their hands. So he's getting pictures of what everybody else has, plus this one. I'm going to say right here, Dwight Ball is the premier of the province at the moment. And the one above it in her hand. Okay?
We do have a couple of speakers this evening who have agreed to say a few words for us. I just got to see if I can find everybody. All right, the first one actually we're going to have speaking for us.
I don't know if you can see, this is probably the best angle and the best coloration of the frame of video in question. Or this video that I'm using. So I'm going to make this larger in order to show the word which is on the top sign. I do believe This is a J. This is a W. That's an E in between. Underneath is tax. So that's what this top sign says, in essence. It's sign, piece of artwork. It's on a piece of canvas. So it's ostensibly art in terms of political protests. Okay? Okay. Sorry about that. Couldn't help myself.
Someone who I'm all sure you're all familiar with is a former MHA and what I call a gas guru, but he calls an everyman, and that would be Mr. George Murphy.
Woo! I have to apologize. I myself was taking the video and couldn't constrain myself. I like to show my appreciation or support in public by laughing along when I think I'm supposed to. Second cameraman, CBC.
Guru gas.
Happens to me all the time. They never lift the mic. Some things you just need to go up. Not gas taxes.
Woo!
I thought it was pretty good.
I want to thank you all first for the warm greetings. And I think that we've got a...
I'm pausing it because to tell the truth, and to tell the truth right now, the gas price just went up in the last couple of days, and it's at $1.40, which is wicked expensive.
Pretty warm turnout considering the temperatures out here.
And a year later,
I don't know about the rest.
I'm going to turn the audio down at this point in time.
But speaking about things cold,
This whole video is about an hour long. It's on my YouTube channel if you want to see the whole thing. It was posted a year ago.
cold time the last couple of months.
So 2 cameras on the go here now. There's a photographer. The audio person's still next to me, the one for VOCM.
Especially with the last budget.
Everybody has one of those other Dwight Ball signs, as you
And
can
I
see.
don't think we're getting any warm responses out of government as regards to how we exactly feel about the budget. In particular, the last move the government made this afternoon, and last night, I should say, by increasing the gas tax. And that's what I'm pretty upset about, and I think it's...
We'll direct your attention, because I am here, just a regular old schmuck. And there's 2 cameras located down this way, and aiming towards Mr. Murphy here. She's not really going to get a really good angle on that sign in particular, so I'm kind of helping distract her attention in a way.
Consumers in Newfoundland and Labrador are particularly upset. Small business owners are particularly upset, and anybody who has to deal directly.
And no, I did not have an arrangement to make sure that that was the case with this person who happens to be holding these pieces of artwork or signs or whatever you want to call them.
With the possibility of added fuel surcharges are particularly upset. And I say shame on government for doing what they did. If you look at, ironically, this was Tourism Week. And what a time to announce an increase to your gasoline tax, except to hear from tourism operators how much damage they have the potential to take.
So we can see this person is in moral dilemma over what to do about what's going on here. And if you ask me, she's engaging in visual communication with somebody else off camera and then in this direction.
And this particular move made by government.
I might be wrong. Oh, well, what to do about her? We got a person shows up on site.
The time when Dwight Ball, when this government was...
And I'll draw your attention to the fact that I was aware that there are some assholes around here.
Talking about increasing the HST, removing the HST by 2%, not increasing the HST by that 2%. He called it a...
So we're having a discussion now with the person who came up expressing some concern over whatever. A person who's helping to organize the rally who opened with opening speeches. And this guy showed up to try to block the sign from the cameras, which are right there.
Job killer. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I say to you this, that it looks like the gasoline tax increase, plus the taxes on top of that, is the real job killer.
So they're definitely making sure that she gets her camera angle correct.
And I say shame. I don't know what thought went into it.
I don't know either.
But I can tell you this, that as regards to... There you go.
I treat it like a freaking Jew. And every person who's got to be poor will be treated like
I got that on camera. I got that on camera. It's okay. I got it on camera. Freedom of speech. Freedom of speech.
Here I pause. I'm going to reference in this video in a second that there's another video that I released. This was all put on Facebook just this last month. And the reason that I'm mentioning it now is if there's a violation of hate speech laws here in Canada, it would have been a criminal code violation, which means, as far as I'm concerned, this person, and the other woman who doesn't seem to be here right now, they were all violating the law because they didn't call the cops to get rid of the hate speech element, which is incorrect. They should have let the police deal with it rather than dealing with it themselves, I think. Which is why I'm vehemently ready to defend her at this moment in time.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Freedom of fucking speech.
Exactly. Freedom of fucking speech. You don't like the words I'm using? That's not my problem. That's your problem. This is chugging along. You don't like the words I'm using, that is your problem.
Fine. I want to be treated like a Jew, and I don't want any...
You can ignore it if you don't like reading it.
Going to be an open
You can
mic
ignore it if you don't like reading it. Freedom of speech.
Treated like everyone else. Like, you know, anytime you don't like something you don't like, you just beat it to shit up.
I think the intention of this group, ma'am, is to have an open mic session after.
Well, maybe.
So I think that we're all taking turns. So okay.
You don't have to read it. You don't have to fucking read it. Ignore it. Don't be a
She said clearly, I am anti-hate.
fucking fascist.
Let's try to...
They did not like hearing the word fascist. None of them did. But guess who understood who was getting called fascist here? She's not a fascist. How is she a fascist?
try to keep it on
He's laughing.
track, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm yelling at the guy. I ain't yelling at the woman.
Burn shit up. Burn a book too, buddy. Burn a book.
But if I want to, if I keep
Burn a book too, buddy. Burn a book.
going here, just to give everybody
I think he realized
a
that.
sense of what we're dealing with when it comes to the gas tax. I
He
already
ain't
touched on a
laughing
couple of
now, is
matters. But I'm a taxi driver by trade. Some of you know me from the House of Assembly, and some of you know me as being an advocate when it
Look at him
comes to
run. Look at
gasoline
him fucking
prices.
run. I'll tell you. I could end the video at this point. I'm certainly going to end the speech at this point. If you want to see the rest of the video, I'll put a link below to the video. So, I don't know who's in on what with this whole crowd. For all I know, they all know one another and arranged to do this a little bit of political drama, even though George Murphy was speaking here. They could all be in on it.
George Murphy included.
But I don't know. I actually
But I
doubt
don't
it because of the way that the body language goes between these people for the next few minutes. They're all talking. They're aware that there's a camera on them, and I have nothing to do with any one of them. But I don't think that the sign that she was wearing or using was actually hate speech. Because I can be darned where I can see where it actually incites hatred against any specific group in particular by saying Jew tax. I really don't. And I do see, however, that it incited hatred against her or her way of expressing it, even though she wasn't there screaming words before anyone laid hands on her or her person or something that she had in her hands. I'm going to just back this video up again for a moment. Draw your attention to this piece where she gets approached by one person. She's also approached early. I clipped this video from the longer video. You can go back and watch the whole video below. And it's in the description now too. And you'll see that there was another person who came up to this lady here who tried to physically actually take the sign from her. I'm going to just draw your attention here. As she moves forward up through the crowd. It's going to be a few minutes for me skinning through this. I could speed this up. This is my current mouse. Oh wait, no, I might have just borked at my own self. Bork it! Bork it! She's first up on the stage, or up on the steps. There's 3 people involved, if you ask me, for sure. Communicated at one point or another. Actually, I was looking at this a little bit earlier. When Mr. Murphy starts speaking, it's the first guy who starts speaking. Is M to mute? Yes, it is. I'm using VLC. When Mr. Murphy starts speaking here, see this person back here? So I'll show you what I was talking about. That one. Moral dilemma. So, this is pretty much the part where we were at, I think. Draw your attention to this piece, where she gets approached by one person. She's also approached early. I clipped this video from the longer video. You can go back and watch the whole video below, and you'll see that there was another person who came up to this lady here, who tried to physically actually take the sign from her. I'm going to just draw your attention here. As she moves forward up through the crowd, I could speed this up. Oh wait, no, I might have just borked at my own self. Speaking of borked, she's first up on the stage, or up on the steps. There's 3 people involved, if you ask me, for sure. Communicated at one point or another. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. There's 3 people for sure, okay? What I'm saying here, what I myself am saying, if you haven't caught it, is that conspiracies are real, but we don't think about how frequently we actually encounter them. Now, who could be in on it? Like I said a minute ago, George Murphy could be on it, for all I know. I know that this person, right here, is involved from the beginning. So there's this, right here. This lady wearing a brown jacket with the hood up comes over and actually touches her, and then tries to take it from her. That's when he was telling his joke. She's got one hand, I think, on the sign, one hand on the lady, right? So that's the first person who laid hands on her. She, if you notice, the person who's protesting has got her hands full. She can't do anything other than hit you with a sign. So she couldn't physically attack you if she's holding signs, right? Unless she uses the sign itself. Second person is the second lady who I drew your attention to. The first one. Right here. She goes through moral dilemma, right? She came up to say hello, so she touched her first, I think. But anyhow. And then this guy. This guy takes it as a win. Here you go. Toro! Ole! What you know problem with me, man? Yeah, I had a problem with him. I actually do. I do. You know, if I had to think about a group of people who spent a lot of time burning pictures in the 20th century, the Nazis did it more than the... Well, depends on the kind of picture, I suppose. If it was a piece of artwork on a piece of canvas, probably the Nazis. Although I'm not, again, maybe not sure, because The Russians, they burned a lot of friggin' pictures too, I'd say. Anyhow, this was my response. This could all be orchestrated together locally. You can see that these two people know one another because they are discussing with one another, and when they came up on the steps, they arrived there one with the other. She's in the back over here. This is really cool. This was a neat thing that I hadn't noticed until I took the clip, and then I recognized it immediately afterward. This guy here is a local, I'm going to call him a politician in a second. He isn't only a politician, he's a lobbyist. He's a proper full-on lobbyist. And she's talking to another local politician who's going to be in the video. If you look at the video description or the video below in the description, you can find out who this person is too. So there is someone representing everybody here. Hey! Burn a book too, buddy. It's the only thing to remember. Everybody who was involved actually stays
a year later,
up on
I burned
the
the
area.
book.
Well, except
I
for
myself, I actually
any of the
didn't
other
burn a book.
women.
That's not
they're,
true.
They're all gone now. Oh, okay.
All the women, yeah, they left.
Let me see when that happened.
Other than the organizer, I mean.
Before
She's
that,
a woman.
there we go. Okay.
But all of the
We're done now?
altercationists, all of the stand-ins.
And right before he grabs the son,
This is what Lionel calls central casting, I believe.
that's right after it happened. Okay, so right before. Oh, look, they're buddy right now. Buddy. Oh, here we are. Yeah, I was talking to you there. Okay, everything.
You see the nod he gave when she first got there? He literally went like that.
Understand
Then-
when? Yep.
And then he checks
Yep,
his
yep,
mark. Everybody in places, please. Places, ready, action.
So at this point in time, I suppose I should just go to BitTorrent or something and download, I don't know, Finding Nemo maybe. Mine. Yeah. So I posted a thing about hate speech below a couple of days ago. I don't know how this falls into the categories or whatnot. The way I presented this to Facebook as well was I gave the first video was on the hate speech law, the specific the thing that makes it a criminal charge, to have to incite violence or otherwise blah blah blah. It's a criminal charge, so it's actually a matter for a jury to consider, and you're supposed to get the cops involved. Like they should have called the cops if they thought that was actual something bad. I think the thing that bothered them the most was that they were. Speaking from experience, if as one of the crowd, if I was watching that presentation, the people here, if I want to call this like a stage for a second, without meaning drama, but they're on a set of public steps which lead up to the public building, which is in here behind. That's our legislative assembly building. So it's like a series of terrace steps going up here, wide steps. And if I was in the crowd watching from, like, in front of the stage, up on the stage, and I was watching the TV cameras film this particularly offensive thing, and I'm at the rally too, I can understand why they might feel that they were somehow making them look worse because there was somebody up there willing to stand up with a sign that said Jew, or whatever, like Jew tax. That's... in the local mindset, it's not because we're in Canada. Well, yeah, it is because we're in Canada. And we're polite. We play politeness and we play the self-policing angle. So this is, in one sense, self-policing. You can also, in another sense, someone might call that direct action. I myself call that a violation of free speech, I think. And I already consider it that. Although, in the past, like as I say, I can understand why it would be that people would not want to associate with this particular person. I think the real issue here is if you don't want to associate with her, don't stand next side of her. But when these people choose or elect to stand next to her, this person's the organizer. She's got to be here anyway. This guy's invited to speak. He's got to be here anyway. And then there's this guy in the background who's going to be speaking later. And his particular area of expertise links him to her indirectly. Do you think she actually met all the categories? As far as I'm concerned, I would, if I was on the jury, I'd find her not guilty of hate speech for that. No. If she was there and started screaming stuff about killing, but she made an explicit point artistically, she feels treated as. Now, she might be uneducated, but that's a much different thing than inciting hatred. So if they misunderstood it, they's in the wrong. And they should have been removed. Go and burn a book too, buddy. Buddy in the back, right? That's what I'm laughing at. It ain't no joke I said. It's this guy. What do you mean? And she's there, like, going right to town. And good evening. Yeah, and this is what I was watching right before. Just look. This pretty much dates it. I don't know if you can see the date here. This is when it was going on. So, I don't know if there's anything else I can show better. Right at the beginning of the video, if I were to mute it again and let it play through, you can see that indeed there's 3 people that are involved directly, in the sense that they make sure she's back in front of them and in front of the camera. Now, ask yourself, if they were trying to really block her, when she skirts around in front of them, they have told her exactly where to be in the camera shot. If she's too close, the cameramen have to move back. That's not the issue. They made really sure that there's a demonstration involving this thing which was in the camera beforehand. I think that was essentially political drama. And I've known it ever since I saw it. It took me a while to really come to grips with it. But after Charlottesville, I posted this to Facebook to make it really fucking clear. Don't piss me off over this Nazi bullshit. I've been to so many rallies at this building. I've seen so many demonstrations of National Socialists. It's not funny. They don't think of themselves as that, but that's what they are. They don't wear the uniform in public. They should be wearing fucking armbands. If you're out on a political purpose and you're serving a political goal, yeah, you should identify yourself as with your political party. It's nothing at all to do with your background or your anything else. That's definitely a choice, your political affiliation. Waiting for Mr. Murphy, waiting for Mr. Murphy. Here. Just one arrival. Thought first when I saw it, maybe this guy and her are there together, but no, he's just standing back over here. Oh, maybe they are. She got there with George Murphy? What? So yeah, they arrived at the same moment in time. She's dealing with him, or her. Is he trying to get rid of her? Or not? Well, tell me they're not all in on it. Camera right in on the business. Look. She's the one covering her identity. It's like you didn't even notice her until now. The camera pointed right at her. Right? I got a different shot. I got a different angle on this whole bloody thing. Look what I got. Camera taking the crowd. I'm yelling. Oh, that's later. That's much later. have a peek here. This is the one who's coming up next. Right? It is her, isn't it? I can't zoom in on this easily without probably doing this. But I think it's her. Got sunglasses. I haven't scanned the crowd at all. I haven't even thought in those terms up to now. Because the main thing is that I thought, as far as I was concerned, it's pretty clear there was a concerted effort, at least a mini conspiracy, to get rid of the sign and her from demonstrating in an essentially peaceful manner. And in a way that she'd already like shown group solidarity by paying custom to the bloody sign they wanted out. Which in its own way is certainly no more hateful than the one to the left of it. I mean, her right. Her right. I mean. Stage left, stage right, you know what I mean? This was in May of 2015? 2016. May of 2016. I'm just now noticing there's a chat. Look how many sunglasses in the shade. Yeah, I know, right? Because the sun's out here and we're in wind. We're in the wind. Imagine. I wonder if I get a viewer for this or not, Janet. This, if you haven't seen what I've been talking about up till now, skip back and listen to it. So here's the number 2 just arrived, right? Because there was the one who was really obscured, and then there's this one who was sitting on the rails just down over the steps. One terrace down, not even. Red shoes, like slip-ons or something. She's got a scarf. Green jacket. What moral dilemma? Look. She looks genuine. She looks almost genuine, other than these goddamn reptilian glasses. It was really sunny out beyond that. We'd gone into the shade. Sun sets behind behind the building to the west. This is facing east. So it was an evening demonstration. That's the reason for the sunglasses. All the same. And it was windy too, so it was cold. So the one who was in brown and really obscuring herself, I'm not entirely sure why that was done, but it serves the purpose of making her easy to forget. So I had trouble when I was doing the video, like finding her again, even though she'd been right in front of me during the scene that I was like getting a second chuckle at. Buddy arrives. When she's moral dilemma first, then Buddy arrives. He's got a grin on already. I'm going to zoom in. Oh, that's not going to do it. This will. Actually, better to pull it in the blender. Ah, over here. Second arrival. Second time she's been on stage, I mean. Because she came up first with him around about the same time. We're going to do something better. I don't know if they talked about it beforehand or not, or if they're just now... So she thinks she's going to come over this way first and get closer to him. They're not going to allow that to happen. The funny thing about it is when she puts the other sign, the Dwight sign, resign in behind, then they decide to do that, or then it's game on. It's in front right now, right? She takes it out of the way. Bridge too far. And the things you can hear on this audio track, Janet, with a little bit of like audio help, and I haven't done it, but you can easily hear what they're all saying to one another. Like as they have a yelling match after.
Freaking Jew. And every person who's got to be poor will be treated like
I got it on camera. I got it on camera.
That's
It's
me.
okay. I got it on camera. Freedom of speech. Freedom of speech.
You don't need that sign.
That's coming from off stage that way.
Freedom of
So she answers it.
speech.
Yeah.
Freedom of fucking speech.
Fine.
There's-
I want
That's the way to do it to them. They hate hearing the word fuck.
to be treated like a Jew, and I don't want any
You can ignore it if you don't
She goes over and she's already talking to this guy. Already.
like reading
It's
it.
going to be an open
You
mic
can
here.
ignore it if you don't like reading it. Freedom of speech.
Treated like everyone else. That's what he says. Like, you know, that's what he said. Anytime you don't like something you don't like, you just beat it to shit up.
I think the intention of this group, ma'am, is to have an open mic session after.
Well, maybe.
So I think that we're all taking turns. So, okay.
You don't have to read it. You don't have to
Jesus, man. If I could put a troll face on a person, this guy might get one.
fucking read it. Ignore it. Don't be a fucking fascist.
It'd be neat to track him from frame to frame just to put the troll face everywhere he goes.
Let's try to keep it on track, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm yelling at the guy. I ain't yelling at the woman.
Burn shit up.
Go ahead.
Burn the book too, buddy. Burn the book.
But if I want to,
He understood that one. They starts to run after that.
if I keep
Burn a book too, buddy. Burn a book.
going here,
This
just
guy
to
didn't
give
like that
everybody
either. I think he realized
a
that.
sense of what we're dealing with when it comes to the gas tax. I already touched on a couple of matters, but I'm a taxi driver by trade. Some of you know
Look
me
him
from
down,
House
look him
Assembly,
down.
and some of you know me as being an advocate when it comes to gasoline
So I'm
prices.
going to tell you, I could. She's over there talking to him. End the video at this point. I'm certainly going to end the speech at this point. If you want to see the rest of the video, I'll put a link below. Links in the description. Thank you for bearing with me for that. Oh, no, I'm not going on break. I'm back. So I was doing work in Blender. And I'm going to do a little more work tonight before I give it up. Issue I was having before the break was I'd noticed that I'd offset the frames in the clip to match this track that it's in. And now I'm going to probably need to move. Oh, you can't see nothing. I'll turn it on. How about that? I'd offset the frames to match the clip here in the bottom. Unfortunately, when I go to try to motion track it here now, or when I turn motion stabilization on the clip, it doesn't seem to be taking too well. Like it's getting the right zoom, but the frames don't seem to be lining up too well. Not as well as it was in the other place. I mean, in the actual clip editor. What do I do? And there's places where it seems to almost remember it. Like it knows to do the zooms and stuff, but it doesn't quite get there. Like here. At this point I have a choice. I could try to do the tracks over again, being careful about where I put the frames. And the reason why the frames matter, I'll go a page down here and go back. When I'm doing motion tracking, I have to choose a scene. Currently got a different scene selected for it, but I'm going to put it back to the one it was on. Make sure I got the right one selected. I do. Oh, wait, no. I'm going to use this one for temp purposes. I've got the frame set to the correct frame on the timeline. So it says the first frame here is 3995. It says the same thing here. I want the clip to reflect that it's starting at frame 3995. So what I mistakenly did was to put the clip forward in time in the timeline when I should have left it back at the beginning. There's now an offset of 3,995 frames in the keyframes. It's reflected up here. Luckily, I can select them all and move them back. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it in this one first, just to be sure that I can fix it after if I have to. And then I have to move back to frame number 1. Oh. I put in the right number there would be a way better idea. And I've already got this showing here. The frame offset is back to 0, but beforehand it was at like -3992 or something. If I go back to the beginning, the frames are there, but the machines won't move. What did I say? The machines, the track points, they don't move. No good. So I have to get these keyframes in the correct location. I think I can do it this way. This now gives me all the data in the mirror, or in the graph selected. But I need it to go back right to frame number 1. So if I grab here, no, maybe it won't let me do it. All the data is there. It needs to be reset back. Might have to look this one up. Don't want it a lot of time. This is dope sheet. Yeah. Invert the order. No, none of this is any good. Now, this doesn't want to work like that. There may be another way. Because this is the same data. I think it's recorded as an F curve. So this is the same type of window here. We have 3 track types of window. They're all set to tracking. Movie clip, right? Clip editor. So this is clip editor. Right. I might have to move them all, in which case I have to remember what these offsets are. Might move them independently. Let's see if I can't do that. This will be the tricky one. $3,995 is the first frame. Let me select points. Right on. And I can grab and change them. Stands to reason I should be able to select all. Grab. Doesn't want to change the point in time. What if I put it back and go like Shift S? No, there's an error. Doesn't want to do that. Worst case scenario. What would I have to do? Do it all again. Tell me once again what we're doing. Okay. I really Do I have to tell it all again? I want to do a short motion stabilization pass on this particular part of Ford Fisher's live stream. So what I'm going to do is, now that I've done it once, I might actually scrub this clip, this example, back it up and do it again. The second time will be really good. And it'll be minimal too, because I'll know exactly what I want to get the second time. What we're doing is watching what the traffic is, how fast it's moving as Ford goes up the road. So another thing that I have to do alongside of this is to do an audio cleanup of the first 3-4 minutes of Ford's live stream audio. So I'm going between tasks. This is the first thing though, is to get this locked down as close as I can. And for the purposes of figuring out what sections I really want in a motion track, I might try to get around what's already happened to get it rendered once and just use what I've got. So it doesn't necessarily have to be deleted or anything. So what am I in here? Motion stab, start. And I go down here and I go frame offset -3992. If I go back one, it doesn't work, but if I go forward, it tracks. What I'm getting is a bug in, I wouldn't call it a bug. The way that I've got this set up in Blender. Keep track of the Challenger exactly, because it's right here. It's got to be in front of this one. Unless there's another car I managed to get in there in the short period of time that Ford's been talking. And after this stable section, as Ford crosses the road, that's the Challenger. After this, we lose sight, let's say right here. Don't know what the light's doing. We do know he's waiting on traffic or at the intersection. This is a four-way stop. There's no lights there, right? So let's count the seconds. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to turn off this side. 4, 5, 6, 7. So 6. And then there's the move back over. Less than half a second right after 6. So one of these vehicles is likely the Challenger. It's up here, right? Because 6 seconds. The Challenger had to accelerate from 0 to something, and it had 6 seconds to do it. It can't get much farther than it's going to do later on. Like 50 kilometers, that is. So let's see what we can see. You were saying that the road hooks around up to the left, right? I think that's the closest I'm going to be able to say to being that's probably the Challenger there. I could imagine this being more stable too. Oh, I can think of a way around this. Best thing about Blender is it's all open. It's all open to like how you want to do things. So that's definitely turning up there then. I could get this more stable, I'm pretty sure. There are a lot of road closures, right? Which would make sense. And there's just been discussions all over the various comments. I'm only trying to limit myself to the ones that are happening on my own channel. But one person was talking about we were trying to figure out why it would be that there would be a roadblock at the bottom of a one-way road. To me, the place in a day where you're closing roads to put a roadblock for that is at the top of the road, not at the bottom. Like wherever the end of the road is, whatever that happens to be. Do I ever? Yes, of course I do. But I'm cathemeral. Have you ever heard that one before? Cathemeral. I'll type that one out for you. I am. Oh, that one didn't work. That didn't take. I'll give you a meaning too. Shows a sort of 45-degree bend. Yeah. So it has to like gradually go. I looked over the map a couple times as well. I've done the same thing. So what I was thinking is, since I know for darn sure where the Challenger is by visual evidence in the other part, what I might do is use simple math to plot what that likely route is, figure out the distance for that, try the distance against the time to get an average speed, and then figure how many turns or stops he had to have made. So, because we have to guess, every time there's a stop, every time he turns, like if he doesn't have to make an actual full-on stop when he turns left and then left again, if it curves, he gets there faster, on average, because he doesn't have to stop and slow down his speed on average. So that does matter. I was just thinking about what else I could do for this clip. One thing is, I'm going to remove this one from here. Now I'm going to go over to this file, which is same length, pretty much the same position. If I now add the clip in question, same problem occurs, which is the clip that wants to play at time reference 0 or 1, but the keyframes and the video data is all offset. But I want that offset to be negligible or removed. So now I remove it. This is Fort Fisher Mostab. This is the footage. Goes to 0. I go to 0. Oh, but I'm at 0. All right. Now it makes sense to me. I turn this one off. It was video sequence editor. That didn't fix it. One would think it would. Go to across again. Haha. Look the fuck out. I think that's a win. Closer. Is it turned on? So, that solves one of the issues I had. I could do this in that other Ford Fisher one too, and then render it off from that same one, but I needed to do it somewhere where I wasn't taking a chance on screwing up everything. I think now the issue is going to be I have to reload the clip at the right moment in time so that all this video tracking data comes out right. So if I go to the first frame and reload, Well, it's definitely tracking. That shows it. But I don't know if that's tracking or my keyframed. It doesn't seem to be following the track data. If it isn't following the track data, by goodness, I'll have to do them again. But that's something for tomorrow, if that's the case. Or, I mean, today. 5 days is the day that I work. And I mean really work. Normally the way I get around this is to always keep tracking data at the very beginning of the clip, but I wanted to see how to make sure I could do it here. So it's a learning experience as well as a educational one. What strikes me as funny is if I go back to the motion tracking setup, now I won't see the frames of video even though we're at the start because it's offset. But I will see the tracking data. Leads me to suspect I've still got to shift it all back to frame 0 so that there isn't this offset. And I don't think it'll let me do that nicely. Almost there. Did that just wipe all that data? Nope. That can't be right. It's like far much. Just too far. That's either one. See, it works here. And then here. Not so much. I set it on cross again and we see that when the video data is updated, there's nothing there. It's probably doing the tracking, but it isn't showing video data. So I have to figure out what this mismatch is coming from. Might be my own ignorant stupidity. I highly suspect that to be true. It's happened before. Probably happen again. Early in the morning here, Hill Jack, I'm going to tell you. Just turned 6. Field's Challenger was a 250 horsepower, could be outraced by a Honda minivan. Yeah, well, probably could. Geez, them Hondas are nice. How to figure my way around this one? Yeah. Challengers never were great for like visibility, I don't think. I was showing off pictures earlier today about a Challenger I spotted downtown last month and a half ago. Red one. The features haven't changed much. So yeah. So if I frame offset to 0 and move this start frame, I got to do this thing again. I got to reload it, right? I see the motions, things seem to be tracking a little better, but not much. No, that's the keyframe stuff. That can be, physics is physics. Honda minivan driver in anger. Physics is physics, that's for sure. What's weird about it is they managed to get it also dead on. Another question I've been chewing on is, do you think they expected the Camry to be there? Was Camry part of the plan or not? Because it does change like what the physics problem is, and it certainly changes where the point of collision is. And you can hear how it's going through a crowd too. There's like a rising. Or at least it's going through a bunch of signs and pickets. So this is Ford's original. Not even getting there, getting there. Right. Point is, I'm starting at this god-awful frame partway through. So trying to see whether or not I can get the lock on to the proper track here, which would be really nice. Otherwise I'm going to have to attempt to run it through the compositing loop, which would be a pain. You telling me I should take care of business before I go to bed too. None of the data is loading here now. Back to 1. I'm thinking aloud. I'm going to start trying to think aloud more. I'm probably going to need to go to bed. Because I'm going to be looking at this again in the morning and saying, start again, having learned exactly what you learned the first time, which is, for example, that's a really good tracking point. And I really only need it as far as here the first time. That's how much image data we're losing. It's everything in the bottom of the frame. Doesn't matter the first. It matters up to about here. And that's when it drops off frame. So it's kind of the marker for when to stop seeing Challenger. So I'll put a marker there. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Put another mark there. Camera move comes over. And now I need to track from here instead. And use the full image to track the second time. He still moves a lot side to side. Guy in white's probably not a good choice. Like the car would be better. Except that we're passing it. Anything on the road could be good. Like all of this, once it comes into view. That. But it's so far away, it would be a tricky thing. I'm trying to scan these areas and also like whatever stays in frame all the time. So everything up here could probably be pressed. I did these the first time. This might work. High contrast. But it's no good for from everything from there on. I'm thinking about putting down a mark when I know I'm going to be at certain places. Look at these. These could be useful too. The coloration that they provide is one of those colors. I'll show you this window would be better. I'm thinking myself here. I'm thinking good and hard about what I should do. Here's what I should do. That way, because I know where it is. Go to the beginning, snap. If I could avoid having to do this again. Motion tracking. Front frame. Start frame. Because it's waiting for frame 3000, right? So I can't change that way, but if I change this one, that's what gets that to go back. One more than that. Huh. Puts the data where I want it. From frame 1 onward. Oh ho, doesn't. Let's get this right. That would be a gap of 7,000. It just doesn't make any sense, right? But if it's -1, it's not going to work either. It's just over 1,000 frames. It's not that much to do again. That should be that. It really ought to be. I need the video data to be loading later than this. And it doesn't seem to want to come on screen again. I don't know if that's definitely a bug. Well, we'll be having no more of that. This will go back to where it was for reference sake. that goes where it needs to be. I'll save it again. Essentially, I've saved a bunch of data in a place where I don't need it, which is a pain in the butt. What I'm going to do is load the clip again, or load a shorter piece of the clip again, because I only want to track short pieces. But the first part is really worth tracking, because we definitely see what's here. And then there's a known distance from either where we started or where that is. And he's first in the line. So, thank you for joining me this morning. This is Fives Day. I'm James PFP. I'll see you later. If you like what you see, don't forget to tell somebody else too, I guess. Ooh, I'm tired and hungry. Good morning.